You know, this place I've been living in, downtown here, this particular unit got me.
How do you think athletic pursuit and creative pursuit are the same, and where do they diverge and become different?
I think they become different once you have to like re-identify with the new self, the new life, which is for me, which is the creative, being a filmmaker, director, coming from the football field. So I feel like the things that are like that remain the same was the work ethic, the being regimented on a schedule. Only thing that really changed was just having to like let the ego go and re-identify with the new self.
So, you chronicled your journey from the intense focus on athletics to your next life as a coach and filmmaker at the age of 25 in the film Shifting Gears. How did overseeing that film project help you to redirect your focus into the current phase you're currently in?
Honestly, I think making that film, Shifting Gears, part one and part two was, helping me get through the transition from the field to where I'm at. So it's almost like me creating a blueprint for not only myself, but for the next athlete, men and women, to transition, to help find out how to, because it's a tough thing to do, re-identifying with yourself after the game.
You made samples of life as a reaction to COVID isolation and your focus on music during that time. Now that we've almost had 2 years beyond that period, what can we learn as we look back as a collective and how you look back as an individual?
What I've learned from that moment um, of time, going through the pandemic, was that I found a lot about myself, areas in my life where I hadn't dealt with, things that I went through in my life that were experiences that were just sheltered off, that, a lot of the times we just push forward. So the pandemic allowed me to deal with those things that we had time to deal with. And I think that was universal, that we all had time to deal with things in our lives that we hadn't dealt with, had time to be still and really focus in on ourselves and who we are. And, just like I said, it's always going to say re-identifying, but it just really helped me like further re-identify with myself after the game.
How did Chasing Greatness Productions become born? What was your philosophy regarding the company, and how did Foot Locker join in to perpetuate that philosophy?
Chasing Greatness started in 2016. That was my last year. I was off and on 2017, but that was my official last year. But, it was November of 2016. Got a camera for $1,500 from Sam's Club. And, from there, it was fast forward to now, it was just something that I love to do. I enjoy seeing pictures move. I enjoyed scoring, the sounds in the film, the sound design, and just how you make your favorite films come to life with music. All those things play a big part into making your favorite film. So just seeing the process, I always worked hard. I never was the person that slacked. So I just basically, I put that same energy into film.
Mhm. And how did Foot Locker get involved to expand your program?
Well, Foot Locker is like a one big like umbrella, and they work with Champs in East Bay, and they're all like under the same entity. And my business partner who worked at Nike for 12 years, her name's Abby, and my relationships just throughout my, just these past couple of years working with her, and then you meet people. And I was blessed to be able to put on some activations this past year with our company, with our film production. Aside from film, we was actually putting on the events and also recapping them. So that's been a blessing to be able to work with Foot Locker.
You spoke in Samples of Life about the result of the finished product, that many people don't understand the multi step journey to getting there. If the same thing can be applied to football, at what point in your high school and college focus did you feel like you were getting lost in the process?
Well, I mean, man, my whole college career, got hit with adversity. I had 5 surgeries through my career.
Oh man.
So having to overcome that and addiction, and
Oh,
from 2010 to like 2014, just I was always heavily medicated because I was hurt. And outside of that, I did a film on Shifting Gears, and I talked about how I abused it. And now I'm at a place where like I'm clean and I'm sober. I'm clarity is clear, and I get to see things differently. So just looking back at those times made me, but that was like the point where I had kind of like hit a phase in my life where it was like, had that adversity that you just mentioned.
So you were involved in the NFL briefly around the same time as when Colin Kaepernick first began protesting during the anthem. Was there a buzz around athletics or the league itself about the treatment of black players in the NFL and the reaction to the protests? And do you think the league has made proper amends for not supporting Colin in a league that's primarily black?
Well, I definitely don't think the league has taken a stance in terms of representing and standing up for Colin in ways which I think they should have. I felt certain brands they were proactive, but they was only proactive because it was going to knock their consumer sales. And, so for me, like you said, the majority of the league, if not the whole entire league, is us, people that look like me, black and brown. And for me to that stance that he made, I commend him and I still follow behind him. It's just hard to see, the stance that he stood for and still stands for today. We still getting hit with those same things that he's standing up for. We still got we still got police brutality. We still got the system still not catering to us in terms of like black people. And it's just sad. But like I said, I wish there could be more done. But again, I appreciate Colin's stance and what he stood for and still stand for today.
How do you believe Chasing Greatness Productions fits in with the future of movies and music, and how will you pursue that future based on how that fits?
My production company, we will definitely be the film company that will never leave anything out in terms of being real. Every film that you see that I produced, project that I've been a part of, has always been real and raw and very intimate and vulnerable. And I think we're getting to that point where it's okay to show emotion and be vulnerable, especially in the black community. And when it's come down to mental health, this topic is being talked about. So I just want people to look at my company as a place where they can come to and feel safe and that they're going to get the best product out there in terms of storytelling, in terms of getting the messaging out, in terms of it being aesthetically beautiful as well.
Great. So finally, what projects are you excited about right now? What are you working on, and where do you see yourself maybe in about 5 years?
Well, one of the projects I'm working on right now is, I'm into NFTs right now. That's been a hot topic.
Yeah.
And I'm working on my drop and incorporating a visual component to it as well within that. And aside from that, just out here pitching, my series in terms of shifting gears for other athletes like myself. Great. And, where I see myself 5 years from now is, eventually, hopefully walking down the red carpet and receiving, an Emmy, I watched Kobe Bryant receive his, and, I have so much inspiration. I watched Matthew Cherry receive his for Hair Love.
Hair Love, right.
Yeah, Hair Love. So it's, I was just on a panel with those guys a few days ago at the NFLPA. So yeah, man, I'm inspired. I see myself, walking on that red carpet and being myself and not conforming and being just who you're talking to today.
This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2022.